Today I would like to make a review of the COBI.BIKE head unit for the Bosch system. This head unit transforms your iPhone via the COBI software or the app. Transforms your iPhone into a multifunction head unit that will allow you to during the ride check the different parameters of your ride, speed, distance and so forth, record them and then transmit them to the cloud via, let's say, Strava if you're using it, or Komoot, or record it on your phone. As you can see on my bike, I used to ride with my phone attached to the control column because I want to use apps such as a Mountain Bike Pro, which is from the Runtastic group. Mountain Bike Pro uses the maps that I prefer, which is the OpenCycle maps, and records the rides via GPS, overlays it on the maps. It's like Strava, but it uses the OpenCycle maps. And I also parallelly keep my rides recorded in Strava. With the COBI system, you can do that and much more. So let me show you what I have right now and what I want to replace. As you can see, I use the Bosch motor on my mountain bike, e-mountain bike. It's the Bosch Performance Line CX motor. This has fallen the other day. I didn't bother to glue it back. It has the Intuvia display, which I want to replace, and I use a Topic phone mount, which I'm trying, and I don't really like it on my steering bar. I've used it here, but it then covers the display, and I want to integrate everything in one device. For that reason, I have ordered directly from the website of COBI the respective head unit and phone adapter. I say respective because there are different models. This one is for the Bosch e-bikes, and it supports 3 motors: the Performance Line CX, and another one. You can see it on their website. And then you can choose between an Android phone or an iPhone. Model 6, 7, 8 are supported, I suppose others as well. And for the model that I have, which is the 8, they then provide you with this beautiful cover, and you use it to mount the phone on the head unit, and there is a plastic cover for the to protect the whole system in case of rain. The quality of the materials is very good. The plastics are soft. Inside is also quite soft materials and a good rubber. If you want to use this for your everyday phoning experience, you can, with one condition: that you have induction charging, because there is no port here to connect an iPhone, although you see there is an USB port, micro USB, that is to plug, let's say, your sports camera, and keep your sports camera charged at the same time as your iPhone. But if you want to use this for everyday holder or for your phone, then you have to use induction charging. I've tried it and it works. As you can see in the back, there are 2 pins over here, and these are used to connect to the head unit. One may wonder, with just 2 pins, how does the phone then synchronize with the COBI head unit? Well, via the COBI app and Bluetooth. It then takes over and starts communicating with it. So you can also ride with the end unit mounted on the bike, but the phone in its holder in your pocket, because they're still communicating via Bluetooth. Even when you ride, let's say you want to ride and it's raining, you can put the phone in your backpack and it will still record and display the your ride details. So let's see how you mount this on your bike. It's quite simple. You remove the Intuvia display by pressing here in the back, like so. Remove it, put it away. The Intuvia head unit, I really like it, but it does not display all the information that will be displayed on your iPhone using the COBI system, such as cadence and power developed. And it will not display your heart rate because it does not connect to any heart rate monitor, which the COBI app does. So then you slide it in the same location as the Intuvia and you snap it to place. There you go. Now it's you've heard it click in. Oh, interesting, this part did not used to click. If you want to remove it, there's a tab here, just press it and you slide it out. There you go. There's also an option to bolt it into your bike. Let me see if I can find where you can do it. There's a location here. The bolt is provided in the package. It's a very nice package, by the way. Comes in this box. Inside there's an Allen key and a screw. It's not a bolt, it's a screw. Then you place it here and I think you can screw it on. I don't know exactly how to do it. This will prevent people from stealing your head unit when you leave your bike parked somewhere. By the way, once you have installed it in your bike and you have taken control of it via the app, it is under your control and nobody else can use it. Nobody else can pair their phones to the head unit. So now it's installed. Let's have a quick look at it. It has a headlight. It's a LED. I'll show you how it lights up. There are several modes. And you can see here below there is a loudspeaker. This loudspeaker is used to ring the bell. I'll make a demo for you, and you can listen to the music. If people call you, you will listen to their talk over there. And what else? The head unit also comes with an integrated battery, and I have to caution you, if the battery is below 65%, it will not start synchronizing with your COBI phone or app. You have to bring the level of the battery up in order to do so. For that, they tell you need to put the battery on the bike, and not to make any confusions, I will try to say battery bike, COBI battery, and iPhone battery, because there will be 3 batteries involved in this system. So they tell you to connect your battery. Let's say I'm connecting it now. Charge your battery, then the battery lights will start flashing, and while they're flashing, electricity is being transmitted to the head unit and charging the battery of the head unit. However, if you had fully charged the battery previously and all the lights are on, like in this case all of them are full, well, the system will stop charging the battery within a few minutes, and that's not enough time to bring the charge of the COBI battery up to level. What I advise you to do is, the day that you buy the system and you want to install it, go for a short 30-minute ride bring the level of the battery a bit low, and then connect it, and then it will take about 20-30 minutes to charge it back, and during that time electricity is being provided and charging the internal battery of the COBI system. So if I'm using the COBI system, then I don't even need to use my topic adapter. I'm not going to remove it now, but I can later on. Put this away, and I can now start installing my phone on the holder. There you go. I'm going to switch it back on, and I'm going to download first and then start the COBI app. As you can see, it's doing a system check already, but on your first start it will ask you to create a COBI account, username, create a username and user account and a password. Then you log in, and then it will guide you step by step on how to pair to the COBI system. If the COBI system is deeply asleep, you have to wake it up by pressing this very discreet button here on the side, and then all sorts of things start displaying on your app, including the message that the battery is not charged enough and you need to connect it to the main electricity plug, charge the main battery and charge the battery of the COBI, and so on and so forth. Right, so once you launch and have then selected all the options you want, you can select the units you want to use: kilometers, degrees Celsius, kilometers per hour, and you can also download the maps for navigation for the region in which you are riding. Therefore you don't have to charge them on the fly while you're riding. That will save you your wireless 3G connection, your data, and it will save some of the battery power of the iPhone. On the main screen here you have different settings that you can pull. One of the things that you can do is to connect to Strava. It will then ask you for the Strava username and password, and transfer all your rides to Strava at the end when you say ride is finished. You can connect to Apple Wealth, and you can connect to Komoot. I don't use Komoot, but I record my rides in Apple Wealth. Not wealth, health. Concerning the external sensors, you can connect to a heart rate sensor. It's very easy, just go there, and if you have a heart rate sensor with Bluetooth that is paired to your phone, like I do here, put it on, it will switch on, then it will be available here, and you just select it, and then this dot will become green, and you know that your heart rate sensor is connected to your phone and to the COBI app. You can also install on your bike a Bluetooth cadence sensor, let's say from Wahoo or some other. And if you have a sensor for speed, you can also connect it here, probably via Bluetooth. In my case, I use the speed that the bike indicates to display that. You can also connect it to Apple Watch, which I don't have. And you have different things here, including diagnostics and the user manual and so on. So I'm done here. If you go at the bottom of the screen and press, it will give you the status of the COBI head unit and the charge of your bike battery. In this case, the battery is charged to 99%. The unit is ready to go, and it says the firmware 1.9.4 is up to date. During your installation process, it will ask you if you want to update the firmware, which I did, and so now it's the latest and it's up to date. If I click there on that other settings button, so you see you have the main screen, then you brought up overlay, and then you clicked on another icon to bring a third screen on top of that, so it becomes a little bit confusing. You have to find your way around. Here it will display the total distance that this bike has ridden. So this is my bike, 3,628 kilometers since I bought it in 2016. This information stays recorded in the bike itself. I don't know exactly where. Certainly not in the head unit, because I replace it. If I go ride with the COBI and I add a few more kilometers to the bicycle, the moment I connect the Intuvia display and switch it on, it will synchronize and add those kilometers to the total distance display there. And it will do the same on the COBI. If I ride with the Intuvia, add a few kilometers, then this one, as soon as I connect it, will also update. So I don't know where it's recorded. It's somewhere in the electronics of the motor or the battery of the bike. Anyway, you can select the bike type, the color of your layout. You can insert the bike name. You can call it whatever you want. I have introduced the model of my bike. It's a Track Power 5 Plus 7 fully suspended. It can talk about bike inspection, diagnostics, and all that stuff. And it will ask you for the bike weight. In this case, it's saying that the weight of the bike is 15 kilos. Yeah, more like 23, to be honest. The type of engine and the controller it's using. And in this case, it's not talking about the head unit, but the thumb controller. Because there are two models. One of them has a joystick, and it will ask you, it will show you a picture. Which of the model are you using, and then it will ask you to repeatedly press the I button, and then it will detect and accept. And in this case, you see, there it is. It's the Intuvia and not the Nyon. Voila, this is the Bosch controller. And then you can do some mapping of some other things. So let's return to there's hub sounds, hub sharing. There you go. You can share this hub. The hub is this object here, or you cannot, or you can just keep it for yourself, and then you don't share it with your wife or your children. In case you share it with them, they will create, I guess, a COBI account of their own. Then they will take control of the hub, but you are the administrator of that. You can remove control from them, and then they will not ride on your bike anymore. There's also a serial number. I'm not sure which serial number this is, probably of the Bosch system on the bike. You can turn off the hub, or you can reset the hub. I have done both of them. Resetting the hub will require you to repair your phone with it and reintroduce all the settings that we've been talking about. Good. So once you've done all of that, you return back to the main menu, and as you will see, there will be a difference between riding or displaying this in the portrait mode or in the landscape mode. For that, let me see if I can do it with one hand. You press here, so the bike now is on because I have introduced the head unit, attached it to the bike. I have started COBI, therefore the bike is switched on. I can also switch it off or lock it by pressing here, but in this case I want to ride, so I press here, and then you have to, and it's switch it to the landscape mode, and now it's already talking directly to the bike via Bluetooth. In this display, instead of holding it, let me just place it so that I can point at it. So this is how you slide it into place. AA right. Christian GSM. Okay, and then here, click it in, and then if you want to remove it, you press this button and you slide it out. Press and slide. I can't do it with one hand. Anyway, let's go back to the main menu.
Music.
There you go. Or better,
Fitness.
fitness. Okay. So this is what it looks like when you go ride, and then your COBI software, your iPhone, everything is integrated. You can then collect all the data much more than with the Intuvia display, and you can then transmit it to the cloud, which is really great. And you don't need then a second iPhone holder, so you can remove this and your steering bar will be a lot cleaner. In this case I also have the holder for my camera, which I want to get rid of also because it rattles so much, and I don't like to see it so busy. I'm going to put on my chest. Then what you do to control your head unit is you press the buttons here, or you have the thumb controller, and with it you do a bunch of things which I'm going to show you now. But before, I want to talk about something. When you connect your head unit or your phone to your head unit, let me remove it now without breaking it. I can show you what I'm talking about. When you, there you go. Whoop, it was coming off, but not so easily with one hand. There you go. You see, the head unit is supposed to be transmitting electricity via these two pins to your phone cover, and then because you connected it inside, the electricity should be flowing to the battery of your phone and keep it charged. I don't know why, but this head unit is not charging the phone at all. So when I go out on a ride and I leave the display on with all the functions running, GPS, recording and all that, within 1 hour or 2 hours the battery of my iPhone is dead and it becomes useless as a head unit. I have contacted COBI support. They've been very helpful, and they have sent me a second cover because I told them that those two pins were providing 4.9 volts. I used the voltmeter to measure it, and we thought, okay, then let's start with the cheapest element of the system, which is the iPhone cover. And they sent me that part, and the second one didn't work either. However, I know that there is some electricity flowing through the system, because when I completely shut down the iPhone, meaning that I really put it into off mode, it will only switch on in two ways. One is if I press the start button, then it will boot. The second is if I connect it to electricity, and then it will boot. Well, if I switch it off completely and then I insert it here, it will start booting. So there's some electricity that comes through those pins into the phone and wakes it up. I have also connected the sports camera that I have to the USB connector, and it's enough electricity or electrical power to charge my sports camera. So electricity goes through, but it's not enough. For that reason, get out of here. This battery indicator, next to it there's a bolt. That bolt should become white if there's enough electricity to charge the battery of the iPhone. In this case it's grayed out, meaning that it's not receiving any power. There's a option here to provide or not electricity to charge the phone. So here its option is don't provide electricity, and this option is provide electricity, and then a bolt should appear here, and that one should also be white. I've seen on other YouTube videos that the people testing their system receive sufficient electrical power to charge their iPhones. So I don't know why this is not working. I have the impression that their latest firmware, which they say was just created to tweak the power settings. Well, it tweaked it wrong, and now the iPhones are not charging. Before I review the functions of the software, of the COBI software and the system, let me talk about the other options that you have when you buy a COBI. So you can buy a COBI for the Bosch bike, which I did, or you can buy a COBI which is standalone, in which case the internal battery of the COBI will be much bigger, and you have to charge it at home on the wall socket, and then you take it with you on the ride, and the battery will be slowly discharged as you ride along. In that case, it will probably not have information such as cadence, or you see, now I know why they have the option for a speed sensor. It's because when you buy that system and you want to connect to a normal bike, well, you might have a speed sensor that is compatible, then it will transmit. In this case, it's the Bosch system with the motor and the Bosch speed detector, and that will indicate the cadence, the power developed by my legs, and the speed to the COBI software. So to come back to the other models, you can also order a COBI model with a different phone adapter. If you have an Android-based smartphone, they will provide you with a clamp system. Or maybe if you have an iPhone 4 or 5, which are a bit smaller, you will receive a clamp, and there will be a cable which you will attach to the head unit and keep your iPhone charged. Let me correct that, to keep your smartphone charged, Android phone. In this case, the connectors are in the back, much more discreet, much more integrated. I really like it, if it works. So, what information does it display, and how do I interact with it? Well, it will display your kilometers per hour. It will display the battery of the bike. It will display if the headlight is on or off. It will display the clock, the internal battery of the iPhone, and if it's charging, the total distance of your ride, the duration of your ride, and the average speed at which you've been riding. If you press here, you will arrive to a second menu where they will indicate you this weather. You also have the option to provide power or not to your iPhone. You have the option to receive voice prompts or not, and here you will select to switch on or off the headlight, and there are several options. So let me click once. This is the automatic headlight. It will detect the current luminosity, outside luminosity, and it will select the appropriate light. As you can see, the side lights are on, and then the internal light is, I think, off. If I press again, then you'll have, let's say, the low beams, as in a car, the power, the internal light switches on, and you can see it's changing intensity, and finally you have full power. And in this case, support told me that it's not sufficient, there's not sufficient electricity to provide charge to the phone and electricity to the headlight. You can't have both at the same time. So I'm going to switch it off. You can tilt the light up and down. I've ridden with it in the down position, and it sufficiently lights forward, and you can see well ahead of you. It's a good light. Coming back to the main menu, you see the display is divided in two, and this half here is changeable by pressing the I button.
Navigation.
As you can see, the voice prompt tells you now you're in navigation mode. If you press once more,
Contacts.
you are in contacts phone mode, so you can call people.
Music.
You can play the music in your iPhone.
Fitness.
And you have an interesting menu called Fitness. I now want to bring up this menu completely to take the full screen. For that, I press the I button for a few seconds.
Heart rate.
And you saw it changed. And now we are in the fitness mode. When you're in the fitness mode, you can switch from one information to the other. This will be your beats per minute via your heart rate monitor, your cadence via your Bosch motor, and the power you're developing with your own legs, again measured by the Bosch motor. Probably it will be torque, it senses the torque, times RPM, that's the power that you're developing. It tells you if you're going up or down and how many kilocalories you are burning. All this information will be displayed when you ride, of course. So now it's grayed out because I'm standing still. I can switch
Heart rate.
from
Heart rate.
one to the other by pressing the plus and minus button, and whatever is switched in, selected in the middle here, when I come back to the other menu,
Cadence.
which I have to do by pressing 2 seconds, it will be displayed there. So now cadence was in the middle, and now cadence is displayed here. It's a good way to ride. You can see if you're having the correct cadence, or also interesting
Cadence.
is to
Power.
select the watts, so you can see what amount of power you are now providing. Then you have navigation. If you press for a couple of seconds, it will change into a 2D display of your navigation. Again, you can download the maps for your region, and it's just a normal road maps. As you can see, the design is very fine, but your off-road tracks are not there. Okay, now what happened is I'm not riding, so the system went into standby.
Navigation.
And now
50 kilometers range.
It came back to on position. Okay, let me continue then. I was looking at the navigation. Here you can change between 2D view. Up and down you can see where you're located by zooming in and zooming out. If you press the I button, you go into 3D mode, and so on. There you go. When you're done, you get out. Then you go to the next one.
Turbo.
Sorry, not the right button.
Contacts.
Contacts.
50 kilometers range.
You can then synchronize your contacts with the COBI app, and you can do them one by one so that you don't overload the memory of the COBI app, and you don't need all those contacts. Just put the emergency or the most used while you're riding, like your wife, and leave the rest. If you want to switch to the normal telephone mode, you can just by pressing the menu button. Then you can place your call while the app is in the background. It is still recording all the parameters. Then you can bring it to the foreground again, and just like nothing had happened. It keeps recording. Okay, so then you can press once more and you go to your music. Same thing, just you have control over the music collection that you have downloaded to your iPhone, and then you can play it. So if I press 2 seconds, now I have control over the music. In this case, it's Paul McCartney. I can control the volume with the plus or minus buttons, and then if I press, there you go. Then you can play, and you will listen to the music via the loudspeaker that is built in the head unit. As you saw before, when I press in this mode, in this view, and I press plus and minus button, they will change the systems mode, and you see the bars move. One other thing that it should indicate also is the battery level. Let me see if I can switch on the battery. Okay, Okay, it's on. I don't know why it's not displaying. Normally the oh no, that's not the battery. It's the assistance level. Yes. So you see there's a big bar and a thin bar. The big bar shows you the assistance that the bike is providing, the motor is providing to you. If you have 2 or 3 bars, it's very low assistance. Then if you have full assistance, it's the full bars appear. It's like in the Intuvia. Then as you press plus or minus, you go from one mode to the other. I am now in the highest mode, which is why the bar is at the right, and it's called turbo mode. I come down one level, it's called
50 kilometers range.
EMTB mode, and it will tell me the estimation of the electrical assistance in kilometers. So it will assist me in this level at approximately 50 kilometers. My experience is that if you're riding in EMTB in the woods and you're having a good time, you will have about 33 kilometers and then enough battery to return home. The tour mode,
57 kilometers range.
it estimates 57 kilometers. That's a good estimation, I would say. I usually ride about 60 kilometers and then it leaves me sufficient reserve in the battery to return home in case I have to go up a hill and I'm tired, I need assistance. I can really require turbo assistance, and then that last reserve will help me to return home, not let my bike go completely empty. Then one level down, it's eco mode.
92 kilometers range.
The eco mode will barely assist you. It will just, let's say, compensate for the internal resistance of the motor, the extra weight of the bike, the extra weight of your backpack, and your own extra weight. So this is the lowest level of assistance. If you want to go for a long ride and you want to use your own legs as much as possible, then this is the good mode to go with. I tend to ride most of the time in tour mode. This is a good
57 kilometers range.
Balance between the discharge of the battery and the assistance that it provides you. There are other hidden functions. If you press the walk button in the Intuvia, it will become a ling ling. There you go. If you press it 3 times in a row, it changes sound, and I think it's quite loud. It's the pitch is really high, and people tend to pay attention to this, and the button is really well placed, so you're riding and you just go, there you go. Much better than the thumb analog ringer, which I will be able to remove as well if if I adopt this system definitely. Then coming back to more hidden functions, if you press the plus button for a few seconds, something will happen, but I don't know what exactly.
EMTB.
This will change the
EMTB.
modes. I think you have to
57
go.
kilometers range.
Let's see. No, nothing happens. Then it goes into the music mode. I'm not sure what it is. I forget. Anyway, that's not the most important part of the review. So, once you are finished cycling and it has recorded your cadence, your heart rate, the GPS overlay, it has recorded your speed, it has recorded how many meters you have raised and come down. It will then transfer all this information automatically to Strava, because you have synchronized it via the app. It will be recorded in the Strava website, and what you can do is download the GPX from the Strava website, and if you're filming, you can then synchronize the video with the GPX information, and you can display your immediate speed, the heading that you're going, your altitude, how much your heart rate is, your cadence, and the total distance that you rode, which is brilliant. If you want to record your adventures, you can overlay all that information, makes it a lot more lively, interesting, and it's a good souvenir of your rides. It will also record it in your Apple Health, and then you can review, and it will tell you really how many calories you've spent. Normally an app that does not have access to the watch that you have developed with your legs cannot calculate how many calories seriously you have burned, because it's estimating that you're doing a mountain bike without any electrical assistance, and it will overcalculate the energy consumption. In this case, it can compensate for that because it knows the power that you're developing. Voila. So once you've finished your ride, you will remove your head unit and you will put it in the portrait mode again. Let me see if I can do it again with one hand and show you what happens then. There you go. When the ride is finished, then it will ask you either put the ride on pause at the top, or at the bottom, tap and hold to end ride. In which case, you will tap and hold.
Ride ended.
It will say ride ended. The COBI will not do much. It does not record anything. But if you have synchronized it with Strava, then this will be sent to Strava, and soon enough I'll get a notification that Strava has received a new ride. Then when you're done, just put this in your pocket, bring it home, and you can either leave the head unit on mounted on your bike or take it home. If you park your bike in a carport, I would advise you to take it home so that it does not receive any humidity, because there are some open holes in there, and there's a battery. Batteries don't like cold and humid places, so just remove it and take it home with you. As you can see below, it has a 7 pins, which correspond exactly to the pins that are used by the Intuvia display. So all in all, it's a nice system. It looks kind of bulky, but it's very light, thin. If you look in this direction, it's an interesting product. I like gadgets. I like the things that provide extra levels of how can I say, complexity, but good complexity of functionality. That's the word I was looking for. And if this head unit charges my phone, then I will keep it, because it has all the functions I need. And look how clean the bike will be once I remove this, and even my bell. The only thing there will be my phone, which I carry all the time. I will not have to carry the Intuvia display anymore, which is nice. I can keep it home on a reserve. If I have an accident and I break this, well, then I still have this to ride the next time as a backup. So I love gadgets if their functions work. In this case, the charging of the iPhone is very important to me. I usually go for long rides, and I don't want to deplete the battery of my phone, because that's my ride recording apps and utilities, and in case of emergency I need to call somebody, or know somebody needs to call me, I want to have my phone charged. If the phone cannot be charged, if there's something wrong with the head unit, maybe they can replace it. It's something wrong with this particular head unit. Or if there's something wrong with the firmware, they can send a new one. I think I opened a case with their after-sales service. They told me that they would speak with their boss and bring it up, I guess, with their engineers, and see if they can upgrade and change the parameters, the power parameters. If not, the system is no good to me, and I will return it. There's a I think 30-day return policy, which I will have no problem doing. It costs 299 euros, so it's really not a cheap product. And if I can't use it 100% the way I want it, then I prefer to go back to my archaic current setting and save the money, and maybe wait 1 or 2 more years until they fixed it, and then buy the new model. Voila. I think that's about everything I covered. I don't see anything else I want to talk about. So I'm going to wish you a very good day, and we'll meet you again for some more videos.